Welcome to another episode of the Lone Recruiter Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Clemenson, and today I want to ask you, are your unconscious habits destroying your results? And why I ask that question is because habits, as we know, I've covered this 1,000 times, habits are quite literally the building blocks to your day and your life. Your brain loves it that way. What is a habit? A habit is something that you've done, a repetitive task that you've done over and over and over again, and your brains form these neural pathways that say, this is how I do that. This is how I do that. Oh, we're going to do our shoes again. This is how I tie my shoes. This is how I tie my shoes. And it will just create a pathway. And the more you use that pathway, the stronger that pathway in your brain gets, right? So that's where we get habits. They just are the most efficient and energy efficient and effective way to get a task done, and your brain loves it that way. Absolutely loves it that way because your brain's really lazy. And I know when someone told me that, I thought, what do you mean brain's lazy? The brain's really lazy. It is an efficient machine. He's looking for the most efficient way to get anything done at any given time. And the easiest way to get a task done is to form a habit. When you form a habit, there's very little energy and friction required to get that task done. And I'll challenge you if you're thinking, oh, okay, that makes sense or it doesn't make sense. Try and learn something new. Your brain, it goes, like you literally have to grow an electronic and neural pathway in your brain to learn something new. Like it's physically grow. You're like a tree in your brain, right? So it takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of effort, and it takes that energy and effort away from other tasks that the brain wants to do within the body. So learning, changing habits are really hard to do for a reason, because your brain is trying to trick you into saying, no, we've got a habit. This is how we do it. But we sometimes need to stop. We need to think and actually go, is this the best way to do it? I've got to push through this pain. I'm going to create new pathways so that the habits that I'm resting on my day, day in, day out, week in, week out, these habits are good habits. Because this is the difference, right? The brain does not know whether your habits are good or bad. They actually don't even really care. As long as you're getting that task done in the easiest way possible, it's happy. It might be detrimental to your body. It might be but it doesn't know any better. So it's actually stupid. Your brain is stupid. And when you know your brain is stupid, you feel like really like smug, like, oh, I'm smarter than my brain, because everyone thinks the brain's really clever. We are literally in control of our brains. And I really want to bring that point home, because you have habits stacked on top of each other day in, day out that are really ruling, the outcomes for your life. So bring you back to the question, are your unconscious habits destroying your results? I'll give you some good examples of unconscious habits if you really want to follow home. I want you to think about how you do these tasks and think, I've never really thought about how I do this. So how do you put on your shoes in the morning? Is it left sock first, right sock second, left shoe third, right shoe fourth? Is it both socks, then both shoes? Is it everyone will do it different, right? But I bet the way you do it is the same way every single day. And if it's not the same way every single day, you're burning brain calories. I don't know. I think if you actually thought about it, it would be pretty similar way you do it every single day. Another one is like, how do you dry yourself when you get out of the shower? But you've never thought about that. How do you dry yourself? I remember having banter with my mates once, like, how do you dry yourself? And we were all perplexed at how everyone else dried themselves. I thought everyone dried themselves in a way that was just absolute chaos. I had a few friends. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Why would you do it that way? I had someone who dried themselves from toe to head, letting all the water continue to drip down on their dry skin, like madness, right? But I bet you the way you dry yourself is unique to you, and I bet you the way you do it is the same day in, day out. Same with brushing your teeth. Do you start in the front? Do you start in the back? Do you start in the top? Do you start in the bottom? You're going to do it differently to everyone else, and it's going to be, I bet, the same thing day in, day out. So it's really interesting when you start breaking down these really simple habits, right? And then think, oh my God, they are habits. And what we want to work out is, are these habits serving us, right? So of course, those sort of tasks, you're going to get to the end result pretty quick. But I'm giving you those examples because they're really relatable. Anyone listening to this will go, yep, I know that. But let's talk about changing habits, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to first identify whether these habits are worth changing, can we do it a better way? And then second, let's go and change them. So breathing is an example that I love to give, because no one realizes there is actually a right way to breathe and a wrong way to breathe. When I was younger, I got singing lessons, and my singing teacher, first lesson, you're breathing wrong. What do you mean I'm breathing wrong? And I think I've talked about this before. I was breathing really shallow upper chest, right? A lot of sport, whatever. And when you breathe into your upper chest, you engage fight or flight, and you get all of that goes to your muscles, right? So it takes the blood away from your vocal cords, and it does certain things metabolically in your body. So apparently the correct way to breathe, and it is, I've looked into this and I can completely attest to it, is actually down through your diaphragm, down to your navel and out to the sides. And this is really like deep diaphragm breathing, okay? So then I was like, I just said, well, what do I have to do? He said, you have to change the way you breathe. That is the most unconsciously conscious thing my body does. Like, I feel like that's automatic, right? That's like the heart beating. That's like my brain working. Like, I don't have control over that. And he's like, absolutely you do. Can you do it now? So I did it. Like, there it is. He goes, that's it. And I go, okay, so you have to breathe like that in your sleep. Holy crap, how do I do that? And he goes, you have to train your body to do it. Really? How do I do that? He said, you just have to consciously do it. So there were when you're breaking a habit and you're creating a new one, in my experience, there's three phases, right? The first phase is just bloody tough. Like, it's completely conscious. Like your brain is going, okay, what am I doing? Like, new pathways being built in the brain. And then the body's responding with new muscles and going, well, I haven't used those muscles before down here. Like, how do I use those? So you're kind of really conscious. It's really difficult. It's really tiring. It's strenuous. Something like breathing too. I remember for 2 entire weeks, I had to just completely think about my breathing. Luckily, I had a very mundane job in a warehouse. So I could do it. Just 8 hours a day, rolling around, picking books. So I had the time to do it, but I was breathing my diaphragm. So the first phase is just brutal. It's tough. Any habit forming, it's conscious. There's a lot of effort. That's where most people give up because it's resistance. And the brain's going, hey, this isn't the lazy way. I've been breathing your whole life. I know how to do this. Don't worry about that. And it'll trick you. It'll fib to you. It'll lie to you because it wants efficiency, right? But you're not going to give it to it. The second phase really is around these pathways have starting to form. Like, your brain's going, okay, well, you want to do it this way. This is how we're going to do it. And the muscles are also going, well, I know where they are. And it becomes a bit more reflex. It's still conscious, but it's a bit easier because your pathways are built, your muscles are working, it kind of works. But if you switch off, you're probably going to go back to old habits potentially because there's now 2 highways in your brain, right? And then the third and final phase really is that now you've done it so often, you've forced it through, you've done it so often that it is now just unconsciously conscious habit, and you no longer think about it. So there's kind of 3 phases to it. And again, knowing what those phases look like really help when you're trying to break habits, because it is tough to break habits, right? I'm going into this stuff because, again, habits are the building blocks of what we do. And in recruitment, in sales or whatever, we all have work-related, health-related, us-related habits that are either good or bad. We don't know if they're good or bad. They're just there. You're doing them unconsciously, okay? So let's just think about some of those tasks that might be unconscious to you at the moment when it comes to recruitment. Like, you might, let's say interviewing. Interviewing is a pretty unconscious task when you've done it for so long, right? You've either got your interview form, you're just going through the motions, or you've got a very specific way of how you address interviewing. And you're probably not thinking much about it. You're just trying to get the answers, get through it, and kind of get a picture of this individual. Another one is maybe closing candidates. Maybe you've got a way of doing it, precise sort of methodology or whatever. But chances are you're doing it in a very similar way for each deal. I think a one to look at would be like your reach out process. You know, how are you finding candidates? What is the process that you run on to find candidates? Like, whether you think you have a process or you don't have a process, there is a habit. You've either got a great habit or a bad habit. The good habit is you have a process that's been thoroughly thought through. It's timed perfectly. You've got, you know, a system in place. And a bad habit for finding candidates is I'll do a bit of this, I'll do a bit of that. But either way, you've got a habit. Okay. What I want to do in this episode with you guys today, and it's a really long way around getting to it, is I want you to nail a habit this month. If you can nail a habit, if you can nail 2 habits, a few habits, you can make sure all of those things that are automatic in your brain, automatic in your life, automatic on your desk, if you can nail those parts, that's the engine room to your success. That is the easiest pathway to success because, as I said at the start, when you've got your brain, your stupid brain, creating pathways to form habits, it wants to take that easy pathway day in, day out. So if we can build good habits for our brain to go, this is the easy route, it's a way to just hack your life. You have more energy You'll have more brain capacity. You'll have more strategic thinking ability. You'll have you'll just find the other harder tasks on your desk that are maybe a bit more ad hoc, a lot easier to handle because the things that should be habits are good habits. So I have something for you. It's so simple, but it's going to be good. I want you to pick one habit on your desk. And so if you're listening to this and you're a recruiter, let's look at candidate reach out on LinkedIn, okay? Let's look at that habit. If you're in sales, pick a habit that you do day in, day out, and it might be mundane. It might be, I look at this thing for half an hour every single day. It might be that I have to do a mail out every single week. Pick one habit or one part of your process or one system or whatever. Just pick one, and we're going to look at it through 4 lenses to determine whether we need to change this habit or not. And then, we'll get into it. So if we're recruiters and we're looking at candidate reach out on LinkedIn, right? The first question we're going to ask ourselves, can this be done better? Okay. Can we do this better? So for example, are our scripts good? Could they be better? Is the sequencing of our messaging good? Could it be better? Are we putting attachments on? Are we asking them, do they want to see, a PD, that sort of thing? Where is the attachment going in that reach out? What are the engagement hooks? Are you putting just a hook at the end, like let's talk at the end, or are you doing it quite early on? Where are the hooks in that thing? What's the rhythm of that messaging? So the first lens is, can this be done better? The second thing is going to be, can this be done faster or more efficiently? So let's just say you're individually mailing things out. Maybe I could mass mail some stuff. Maybe I could actually bulk a bunch of them, knock half of them off really quickly because it doesn't actually need to be an individual reach out. I don't know. Maybe we get a VA to help us. Maybe we get a staff member to help us. Can we leverage the team? Are they already searching for something similar? So again, can this be done faster and can we do it more efficiently? Is the second lens we want to look at a habit. The third lens we're going to look at for a habit is this the best time to do it? Is this the best time to do this habit? Think about it. If you get a brief in at 9 a.m. and your process is brief in, write ad, write script, get messaging out, go to database, just like that because the job's in, we go, great. But what if you get a brief at 5 p.m.? Are you going to do it at 5 p.m.? And have you actually looked at what time of day is a better response from candidates? Is it first thing in the morning? Is it late at night? Is it in the middle of the day? Is it on the weekend? So is this the best time to do this habit? Okay. And then the fourth lens we want to look at these habits are, should I do more, less, or the same of this? So is this habit, if it's really good, should we be doing more of this? We'll actually net more results. Is this actually a waste of time? Is this just an old habit? Is this just a habit that I'm doing for the sake of doing it because I thought 5 years ago this would be a great habit to do? Maybe it's lost its gumption. Maybe it's not a great habit to have in my realm anymore. So maybe I need to do less of it. Or maybe we just do the same because we're quite happy with how that's going. So that's it. When we assess a habit, 4 lenses, can it be done better? Can it be done faster or more efficiently? Is this the best time to do it? And should I do more, less, or the same of this habit? Okay? That's going to determine whether you need to change your habit or not. Okay? And then it's just a matter of doing the work, changing the habit, changing the time, changing the volume, changing the content and pushing it through. And remember, you've got 3 phases of changing a habit. 1, the first sucks. It's conscious, it's painful. You're forming pathways, you're forming muscles, you're forming the habit. It's tough. Most people give up at that phase. Don't give up. 2, it then becomes a lot easier because the brain waves are working, the neural pathways are set, your muscles are responding, but it's still conscious. You still have to think about this habit. And again, don't drop off here thinking I can do it, therefore it's going to stay. No, you need to be doing this shit in your sleep. This needs to then get to phase 3, which is completely unconscious. I now know that if X happens, Y I do. X happens, Y I do. And that is unconscious. It's just a reflex. It's like jujitsu. Someone punches you, you whack it away. Reflex. Okay? That's what we want to get with our habits. If you got anything out of today, habits. Habits are the building blocks to your home. And if your home's falling apart and you're not really in the house that you want, look at your habits. The habits are the fundamental, building blocks for everything you do and everything you do in life. Work, play, family, health. The building blocks are the habits, and the habits are completely within your control. That's all I have time for you today. Like, share, subscribe. Really helps us grow. As always, have an amazing day. May all your deals and habits come true.